Farming in games is a lot of fun. It offers a relaxing alternative to the action-packed nature of games. From building a successful farm through hard work and determination in Farming Simulator, or creating an automated redstone farming masterpiece in Minecraft. These places make you proud when you start with nothing and eventually have a bustling farmstead filled with memories made along the way. A farm is just one of the many things I've always wanted to build in Skyrim as part of a property empire. What if I could forge a path from nothing to eventually building a city and becoming a Jarl? Well, with mods, I've made that a reality. I can open my own mine to gather materials and start producing goods. I can purchase a plot of land and turn it into a farm, providing vital crops for expansion. I can open a port to allow my products to be shipped all over Tamriel. I can create a majestic manor and fully functioning village to house my family and those of my employees. And finally, I can turn an empty and unassuming plain into a grand city bustling with life and opportunity. So, let's begin by introducing Alan Allenson, who recently saved his family's mine from bandits and turned it into the largest and most profitable mine in Skyrim, with a growing community of fantastic people from all over Tamriel. With the mine in such a remote and cold location, growing food is difficult. But, while talking in the local tavern with her friends, he was told something that could change everything. So with his personal savings, Alan travelled to Whiterun to speak to a man about a farm, buying the deed and becoming its proud new owner. And so our journey begins on day 1 with Alan arriving at the new Allenson farm. The only problem was it had fallen into disrepair, and the most Alan had ever grown was a cabbage. He has a lot to learn. The first tasks on day 1 were to set up the tools needed for construction, which were shipped from the Allenson mine in the north, and to set up a small camp to keep him and Sweetroll sheltered while the farm building was repaired. With both tasks done, Alan headed up to meet his neighbours in Laureus village and farm, taking a stroll around town to see what was on his doorstep, before heading into the farm and asking if he could help for experience, picking some crops and getting to keep a few to eventually get his farm started. And after a hard day's work, Alan got back to camp and sat by the fire, admiring the beautiful night sky. Day 2 was spent collecting quarried stone for building. Alan didn't have any materials from the mine as he didn't want to affect the business, opting to do everything himself, and after finishing for the day, set off to Riverwood for another hard day of work. On day 3, Alan arrived at Riverwood, which had 2 of the materials he needed for repairing the farm. So I've just arrived in Riverwood, looks like a lovely little town. Sleeping Giant Inn. I'll definitely stop over there tonight for a couple of drinks. Riverwood Trader here. I'll stop in there before I head home tomorrow and sell the gems I've picked up from mining. And then a blacksmith over here. Probably won't be using this much because I'll head back to the mine for any iron, but it's handy to have nearby. And over here is the mill. I think I'll go and speak to the owner, see if I can get a deal in place like I had at the mine, so I can chop my own logs and get them a bit of a cheaper price. So I've got the same deal in place with this mill. I cut my own logs and I can get them a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing this, get a nice pile, and then we can transport them back tomorrow. Spending the full day cutting logs which would be transported back to the farm to get a lot of projects started. Alan then spent the night in the tavern with the locals. He'd be there a lot in the future, so making friends would make the hard days much more rewarding. Day 4 started with an early morning bath to ease the aches and pains, and then a few hours collecting clay to be sent back to the farm with the logs. Luckily, Alan found a couple of gems while collecting the stone, so sold them for some gold, and then headed back home to the farm with all of his new materials. Day 5, and Alan was headed somewhere familiar, back to the Allenson mine for a long day of collecting iron and corundum ore for projects in the farm. He checked with Tovar the manager to see how things were going while he was away, and spent the night having a catch up with good company. Day 6 was an early start to head back to the farm and smelt the ore collected from the previous day at the village blacksmith. And day 7 was spent turning all of the smelted ingots into parts for the building, as well as a shopping trip in the village to get some last minute items. Day 8 and Alan could finally get started on the repairs to the farmhouse, spending all day fixing the damage so it was livable, and crafted the first house key. Now, he's the proud owner of his first official house. Okay, so it's looking good outside, but I thought I'd have a look inside. Obviously not furnished yet, but let's have a look around. It's sitting area, living area, I guess. Farmer's quarters. I'm guessing this is where any staff will stay. Nice little cosy place. Upstairs. Guards' quarters. Empty again. I think that's the balcony. And then we've got a cellar. Let's take a look inside. Okay, very spacious down here. Obviously, no furnishings whatsoever, and it definitely needs a clean. But we can set up our bedroll and actually move inside. Day 9 was started with a beautiful sunrise from the balcony of his new house, and then building some basic furniture to make the house more comfortable and ready for staff. On day 10, Alan fixed the fences around the farm plot so he could start to measure how much space he had to grow crops and produce. Day 11 was spent making some furniture for a basement room Alan could use to sleep in and relax. Finally, the camp outside could be packed up, and he and Sweet Roll had somewhere warm to rest in the evenings. And on day 12, the farm office was built. Alan could now hire new staff, keep track of his finances, and had a safe place to store the farm's earnings when opened. Day 13 was spent repairing the farm's water barrel so fresh water could be collected and stored, for watering the crops and providing some drinking water for the workers while they're hard at work. Day 14, and Alan built a stable and cart so a horse could be bought to help transport goods, and the neighbours from Laurier's farm came over and helped build an animal pen so the farm could get some cows. Day 15, and the farm's windmill and grinds were repaired. This would allow Alan to turn wheat into flour for baking, and the neighbours helped build a hen house, even offering to provide some of their new baby cows and chickens. Day 16 was spent building a market stall on the road by the farm. This would be a great place to sell produce to weary travellers on the road, giving them fresh food and milk for their adventures. Day 17, and Alan prepared all of the tools and storage needed for a functioning farm. All that was left now was to hire his first workers. But first, on day 18, Alan helped around the neighbouring Laurier's farm to pay them back for offering the baby animals, and worked at the Laurier's village blacksmith, earning 100 gold, which would be just enough to hire his first workers. Day 19 was finally the day Alan could get the farm started, hiring some farmers who came recommended from the neighbours. So I've just been up at the neighbour's farm over there. They sent a couple of workers my way who they couldn't hire. So I've brought in Sigya. She's going to be running the stall for me. So anyone who comes down this road will pass by this stall and we'll have fresh produce for them to buy. Could be a nice little earner. Welcome to the farm, Sigya. Hope you're settling well. And already hard at work in the field, we've got Rogvold. Welcome to the team. Looking forward to having you on board. I also managed to get a couple of cows from the neighbours. So if we go in here, we're producing milk. Start selling that on the road to passers-by. They gave me some chickens so we can get some eggs, which will be brilliant. And also we've got Soldair the horse. They couldn't keep him, so I offered to take him, so we managed to adopt him for free, which is really good. Normally costs about 1,000 gold, which we definitely don't have. And as an added bonus, they've moved in and brought some extra furniture with them. And they've even got some food on the fire, so I'm very happy. And then this is their bedroom. Very nicely decorated. They must have had a lot of stuff with them in their cart. And there must be a couple as well, because they've only got one bed. I'll need to get to know them a bit better to figure that out. Day 20, and after a morning trip to the village market stall for vegetable seeds, Alan helped around the farm, planting some tomatoes, carrots, cabbage, leek and potatoes, which could all be turned into a lovely stew. Day 21, and with the farmers hard at work, Alan repaired the stairs up to the cliff. This would be a great viewpoint for a guard tower, which was needed as bandit reports were becoming more frequent, and Alan's workers, as well as his neighbours, were becoming a bit wary of this. Day 22, and Alan returned to Allenson Mine for another day of collecting iron after running out of supply at the farm, also taking another opportunity to drink with friends in the tavern. And while Alan dances the night away, this would be a great time for you to like, subscribe and turn notifications on. You'll be joining a fantastic community of people. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Day 23, and after smelting the iron overnight, Alan returned to the farm and built a guard tower on the hill, which will provide security to the farm and the surrounding village. Day 24, and the furniture in the guard tower was built, so guards could store their belongings and had a comfortable place to sit on shifts. And Alan forged some weapons and armour in preparation for the guards arriving. Day 25, and needing more gold for future hiring, Alan prepared some vegetable soup to sell at the Whiterun market, and decided to craft some more armour which could be sold at the blacksmith. Also planting some apples on the farm to make the start of an orchard, which would open a lot of opportunity for new produce. Day 26, and after an early start to the day, it was time to sell the first produce made from the farm. Alan set up his stall next to Carlotta Valencia and her shop and got to work. Welcome ladies, anything you like the look of? We've made our first sale, vegetable soup seems to be quite popular. And another one. We're going to have to ramp this production up, I think. I think we're onto a winner. After a long day of selling goods and getting to know Carlotta, the night was spent in the tavern, and Alan tried his best to impress Carlotta with his chat-up lines. Did you come into the Bannermere often? Oh, you're keeping it a bit mysterious then, I like it. Day 27, and after sleeping at the tavern, Alan sold the gems he'd found mining, as well as the remaining armour. Also checking out the local alchemy shop, where Arcadia mentioned he looked a bit under the weather, which was just a hangover. She recommended wheat and blue mountain flowers as a cure, which gave Alan a great business idea, so he collected as many blue flowers as he could find. Day 28, and after returning to the farm, Alan started to plant wheat and the blue mountain flowers, starting a small section dedicated to alchemy ingredients, before planting some more apples to continue growing the orchard. Day 29 was another hiring day, sending carrion pigeons to the 2 guards he'd interviewed in Whiterun the other day. Welcome to the team, Riri. Nice to have you on board. Welcome, Cowlia. It looks like you're settling in nicely. Day 30, and after a small bandit party was spotted nearby, defensive walls and gates were built, offering extra peace of mind to everyone working at the farm. Day 31, and with plenty of produce stockpiled and ready to send back to the mine, the farm officially opened its market stall, collecting 230 gold on its first day, and with plenty of produce collected daily, there was no risk of running out. Day 32, and the first crop of alchemy ingredients were harvested and ready to be made into potions. Alan headed to Arcadia's cauldron and agreed to give her a portion of profit for using her recipe, producing his first batch of health potions and making a good amount of gold after selling. On his way out, Alan spots Carlotta and decides to take a massive risk, hatching a plan for tomorrow. Day 33, and Alan catches the first cart ride to Riften, heading straight to the priest to talk about marriage, and buys an amulet of Mara ready for tomorrow's proposal. And on day 34, after arriving back at Whiterun, Alan proposed. Carlotta, ever since I chased off that creepy bard for you, I knew you were the one. Will you marry me? Despite her turning down every other man in Whiterun, she accepted, and the marriage planning started that night. Day 35, and without wanting to waste time, the couple headed to Riften after Alan picked up some fancy new clothes for the occasion, and at a small ceremony they were married. Sweetroll even brought them the rings. Day 36, and after a night in Riften, Alan headed back to the farm to get back to work. Carlotta returned to her house in Whiterun as there's no extra space, but now the farm is providing her stall with its produce, which will help the family make extra gold. Day 37, and the last few days' profits were collected and used to buy materials from Laureus village. Alan couldn't afford a trip to the mine after being away so much. The rest of the day was spent building a greenhouse which could be used to expand the range of produce grown on the farm. Day 38 was spent building pots and planters for the greenhouse, and adding in some beehives which will produce honey and help pollinate the produce. And on day 39, Alan built and installed the equipment needed to produce mead with honey and more ingredients. This could be a great way of expanding the business, and he could stock Allenton Mines Tavern with his own brand. He then spent the evening in the kitchen with the workers, getting to know them better. Furniture for a brewer was built on day 40, providing extra accommodation and places to store the ingredients needed for the brewing process. And on day 41, with everything in place for a brewer, Alan headed to Honningbrew Meadery to ask if they had any recommendations. After looking over a list of candidates with the owner, Alan made his choice and headed home to send the pigeon with the good news. So I've been doing jobs around the farm for a couple of hours, but the brewer has moved in. Looks like he's unpacked. All of his ingredients here. Vat's ready to go. Alchemy station ready to cut some of the finer ingredients up. And what's this? Mead ingredients. Okay, so he's got a list. Ingredients required for brewing mead using the brewing vat in the cellar of Heljarken Farm. Okay, so there's a few things we'd need to go out and find, and then we can plant them in the greenhouse and really get this operation going. That's probably a job for another day, but we'll start planting what we've got. Okay, and this is the brewer, Strovar Meadblood. Okay, welcome to the family, and it looks like he's learnt some recipes from the chef at the mine as well. Hopefully your mead's as good as your name. And this is his bedroom. Sorry to disturb you, Strovar, just having a look around. You've made a few test batches of the meads. I might come and join you for some later. I'll leave you to it anyway. Day 42 was spent foraging for ingredients that could be used for mead, and buying some of the rare ingredients from Whiterun. Alan then spent the night with his wife, enjoying a rare opportunity to relax with a book, and collected the first portion of his earnings from her stall, which was a very profitable venture. After returning home on day 43, Alan planted the ingredients for mead in the greenhouse. This would allow the brewer to have access to the ingredients all year around. On day 44, with Alan wanting to move Carlotta and her daughter to the farm, he started the foundations of a new house on the hill. Once built, it'd have enough room for them all. Days 45 to 47 were spent building a grand manor on the hilltop, a fitting home for a man who'd worked so hard to make something of himself. Day 48, and Alan furnished the bedroom of his new house. Okay, so spent the day furnishing the bedroom, so let's take a look. Okay, I'm liking this. Definitely fit for a king. Sweet Roll's already made himself a home. Lovely furnishings. Bed looks very comfortable. We've got a chandelier. And a mammoth ornament. That's definitely better than the hawk one back at the mine. No, I'm very happy. Rest of the house needs some work, as in I've not done anything, but no, the bedroom's done and that's all we need for now. Day 49, and with a newfound drive, Alan expanded the farmable areas, leaving extra space for more animals and a large area to expand the variety of crops the farm produces. An alchemy greenhouse was built on day 50. This will keep some of the more dangerous ingredients away from the produce the farm was producing for food. Day 51, and Alan spent the day building pots and planters for the alchemy greenhouse, ready for a herbalist to start nurturing the ingredients. Day 52 was spent doing a few odd jobs around the farm and getting materials from the blacksmith who was now being supplied by the Allenson mine, before taking a moment to admire the progress so far. I've just got back from the village up the hill. I thought I'd do a little walk around and show what we've done so far, admire it a little. A Siglet man in the shop. It's a lot of travellers down this road, so really profitable. And then walking in, just look at the difference from day one. That house is a ruin, now completely finished. Got workers living in there, really making a home for themselves. Over here, we've got our lovely orchard, and every veg we could ever want for. And we're making that much, we can send it to the mine free of charge. So we've cut some costs on shipping food there, so just brilliant all round. Making a lot of money and saving money at the same time. We've still got a lot to build, but we've got our greenhouses, our mill, and our manor. It's really starting to come alive and feel like a community like the mine did. And we've still got plenty of people to come and join us here as well. Day 53 rolled around, and Alan built another tower to increase the security of the local area, and underneath left space for an alchemy shop which could supply travellers with the potions Alan was planning to produce. Day 54 was spent furnishing the alchemy store, making a secure place to sell the potions from, and plenty of storage for the ingredients. Day 55 was another hiring day, bringing on board a herbalist to grow ingredients, and an alchemist to brew potions. Okay, so the alchemist has turned up, let's go and say hello. Herbs and vials. Okay, I like it. Okay, they've wasted no time setting up shop here. Looks really good, all the ingredients out. Potions ready for sale as well. I think this is going to be very profitable. Oh, and speak of the devil, Ulvanus, welcome. How are you? How are you finding life here? And this is the herbalist. Anka, welcome. How are you? I've got some herbs for you. I'll give you a hand planting them today. Day 56, and it's another day in Whiterun, collecting ingredients the alchemist had ordered. making use of the alchemy lab to make some more of the health potions to raise some extra gold. Day 57 was a quick trip to Morthal to pick some of the last ingredients from the local alchemist, and selling the remainder of the potion stock. After getting home on day 58, Alan planted some snowberries outside as an additional ingredient for pies, and worked with the herbalist to plant the rest of the alchemical ingredients in the greenhouse. Day 59, Alan wanted to excavate the hill under the house for extra space for worker accommodation, so he travelled to Allen's mine to commission the work. After making plans with Tovis the manager, he headed home for work to begin in the morning. Day 60, and the miners arrived and excavated the cave. This was done in record time, with them all being experts in the process after months of working for Alan. Day 61, and Alan got hard to work building the walkways in the excavated cave, ready for accommodation to be built, and added a door to the cave to the greenhouse for better access in and out. Day 62, and Alan finished the cave area by separating it into rooms for the workers and building furniture for each of them with the help of some of the staff. Day 63 was spent making new farm tools ready for new staff and crafting new armour and weapons in preparation of increasing the guard numbers at the farm. Day 64 was spent interviewing a Whiterun for new farmers and guards, before having a night in the tavern with Carlotta to catch up on the past couple of weeks. Day 65, and with the last few days of profit, Alan hired a new farmer and maid, along with 2 extra guards. So the last few staff are being hired. Let's go and say hello. Who have we got here? Ogvir, I think he's one of the new farmers. Welcome aboard. We've got one of the new guards, Verinia. That is some fancy armour. I need to get the blacksmiths back at the mine to make me some of that. Very nice. Welcome aboard. Joffre, good morning, welcome. Done a lot of work here, well done. Finally, we've got some new cows. Finally moved in down here, so we can ramp up our milk production. Day 66 was spent planting fruits and vegetables in the expanded farm area, with an extension to the orchard, and some more popular items being planted to meet demand. Also helping tend to the alchemy ingredients in the greenhouse. Alan also checked how many goods the farm was producing, with all of it ready to be sold at markets and stalls every day. On day 67, with plenty of food goods to sell, Alan and the brewer finally got the first batches of mead. The Dragon's Tongue mead will go down well at the market, but especially at Alan's mine, where it could warm up the miners after a long and cold day. Market day fell on day 68, with Alan bringing all of his newly baked goods and the brand new mead recipes. Wanting to raise money for building the manor's furniture and to drum up interest in the goods the farm was producing, it was a great way to show off his products. Oh, thank you. Freshly baked today. Thank you, Alava. Freshly baked today.
Need something? See you.
Best mead sale. You won't regret it. It's the finest batch I've made so far. Okay, I think I best pack up. I'm starting to attract the local wildlife. Stew, get off the product. Oh, the chicken's on its way over as well. After saving enough for materials from his market trip, Alan spent days 69 to 75 fully furnishing the house ready for his family to move in. And on day 76, it was finally ready. So the house is finally finished. Let's take a look around. First of all, we've got a lovely garden out front and a beautiful view of the farm and the mountains. Over here, nice little training area for the guards. I've got a little bit of training, but I'm still completely useless with anything combat related. Heading inside, lovely open plan living area. Lovely fireplace, beautifully decorated. Can't wait to just sit around and relax with the family when they move in. Very big dining area, so we can host parties with the rest of the staff on the farm. Very well stocked kitchen. Absolutely every ingredient you could ever need. Farm produces that much, we can just stock it all year round. In here, nice little spare bedroom for any companions. Even get the executioner down for a trip. I haven't seen him for a while. We've got a ridiculously stocked storage room. The blacksmiths over at Alan's Mine have been producing some fantastic work, and they've been sending me some of the prototypes. Hopefully this will be on the market soon and we can make even more money. Plus I can store some of my weapons here. We've got a storage room for any adventuring supplies and valuables. We do a lot of travel between here and the mine, so it's really handy to be able to store all of that down here. And again, the mine are transporting a lot of the ingots to here so we can sell in the various holds nearby. We've got a room for all of the ores and we can smelt here if we need to. And this room, I think, is the best one by far. Look at this alchemy room. We've been getting a lot of training from the alchemist in the shop, and it's really paying off. We're producing a lot of potions. Just look at these illustrations. Absolutely beautiful. Got every ingredient we could ever need grown right on the farm, producing hundreds of different potions. You can really ramp production up here. In here, the enchanting room, the alchemist uses this more than me, but I'm hoping to get some training. But fantastically stocked, and you never know, we could make some money from this as well. And finally, the house wasn't complete without a little blacksmith studio. I couldn't leave my roots behind. Obviously, I'm not as skilled as the blacksmiths back at the mine, so I can only really produce iron and steel. But you know, I give it a go and I'm learning. Here you've got a couple of children's bedrooms. Meal has already chosen some furniture to go in this one. And then we've got a spare one for the future. You've already seen my room. It looks as good as ever. But wait till you see what's outside. Come outside and look at this balcony. Breakfast, dinner with that beautiful view and an overlook of the farm. And I've even got my patented geothermal hot tub. Amazing to relax while looking at the night sky. And with the house finished, so was the farm. Alan had turned it from a decrepit and desolate piece of land to a bustling farm producing goods to support itself and Alan's mine, but also making enough produce to sell in towns and villages to make a healthy profit each day. But as Alan sat looking at the night sky relaxing in the hot tub, he realised how big the world truly was and all of the places his products could be sold. He started brainstorming and imagined how opening his own Allenson port could help achieve his goal.